Hello, leader. Welcome back to the Fierce Factor podcast. It's Kaylee here, and you are tuning in to episode 152. And I love that you join me every single Monday morning to kick off your day. I feel so connected to you. I just really love this time with you. I love this place to be able to share some strategies, some solutions, and of course, opinions here with you on this podcast. I feel like we know each other. So many times I have a podcast listener set up a call with me, and while they know a ton about the content I produce on the Fierce Factor, I don't regularly talk about the ins and outs of our programs and how to really work with us and in what capacity. And so many of our clients, and perhaps you, leader, you would like some guidance, some thought partnership, and some support with business growth, but you're just not sure if the time is right for you. And so this week, I'm going to share with you a recent Instagram Live I did discussing a bit about my background, my growth philosophy, and our programs here at KLC, the Pop Leadership Academy and Confidence to Scale. And in this episode, you'll hear I'm going to answer some burning questions about our CTS program and give a little insights into what the program is all about, who is the right fit, how we work, and why our company is the preeminent leader in the industry for helping female business owners catapult past their next $1 million milestone. So I hope you enjoyed this live session. And P.S., if you have any questions that weren't answered after this episode, please just send me a DM on Instagram and I will respond personally. I hope you're having an amazing week and I will chat with you soon. Enjoy. Hi there. Welcome to the Fierce Factor podcast. I'm your host, Kaylee Lindholm. And I think it's time for us women to shift the conversation in business and step into our feminine leadership to do the most iconic work the aesthetic industry has ever seen. Each week, I'll be bringing a powerful dose of strategy, sarcasm, solutions, and sass that will rev up your creativity and ignite your brilliance as you link arms with me along our shared path of personal and professional growth in 20 minutes or less. Let's go. Woohoo! Hello. Welcome to this live. Happy Sunday, everybody. It's Kaylee here. I'm a little rusty at live, so I'm going to do my best to make sure we have everything set up. Welcome. I'm really excited to be here with you, to talk with you about some exciting things we have going on at KLC, specifically our upcoming Confidence to Scale program. And I'm here for a live Q&A to answer any questions that you might have about our programming. I have found that over the course of the past couple of weeks, I've been having familiar and similar conversations with women who have either applied and are still sort of curious about what is expected in Confidence to Scale. We've had a lot of new subscribers to our ecosystem over the past couple of weeks, and I think a lot of you are asking questions about our growth philosophy and what can be expected going through programming with us, questions about the differences in our different programs and what might be the right fit for you. First, I want to say happy Sunday. I hope everybody has had an amazing weekend. I found a somewhat quiet corner here in my house as we have a full household of children running around, so bear with me. Oh, and puppies, by the way. Bear with me if you hear some chaotic sounds and or screaming children, loud teenage children. Those are mine. Okay, so I want to start. I'm going to get to the questions, but I want to start off by just talking a little bit about why I even have this program. Like, why are you here, Kaylee? Like, what's the whole point of this whole thing? For those of you who don't know a lot about me, I'm going to give you just a really, really brief, basic overview of my background, where I came from, and kind of how I started KLC. I came from the corporate side of things. I went to college, got a business degree, emphasis on marketing, and decided to go into sales. And I worked right out of college in a sales role, made my way into aesthetics, sold skincare and lasers, and then became a sales director for one of the world's largest aesthetic medical device companies that probably many of you guys know. Through that experience, I learned a lot about building teams and managing people and building culture, and obviously sales, marketing, operations, all the things, business stuff that I learned in school. What I didn't get to experience, I did in my next role, which was when I decided to launch KLC. I partnered with a young plastic surgeon who was looking for a partner in his business, essentially a profit share arrangement we had for me to come in and help him build his operations. So his surgical, non-surgical wellness division, really bring the team in, build up all the systems, operations, and marketing strategy, all of the things behind helping him build his multi-million dollar empire. And I realized, coming from the business world and having all the structure put in place for me, essentially, when I was in management in corporate America, it was like, here's the template for who to hire, how to fire. Here's your recruiter. Here's how you build a team. And then jumping into this sort of like small aesthetic practice type of environment, I'm thinking I could do this with my eyes closed, right? Because like I've run multi-million dollar corporations already, like I'm good. And I realized that there's just such unique nuances behind what it takes to run an aesthetic practice, particularly when the owner is also the main talent of the business. So I learned a lot about not just the business side, but the real challenges that it takes around building a business from the mindset of trusting team and how to hire and fire people in a small working environment. And through that experience, I decided to launch our flagship program, which is called the Pop Leadership Academy. We worked with anybody and everybody who wanted to do business with us. And then we started to slowly niche as our business started to grow so that we could dive deeper and really serve our customers at the highest level. This is where we are today. Our programming is specifically designed for female entrepreneurs who are building and scaling multi-million dollar businesses. What's so interesting about just this whole business coaching and aesthetics and consulting and the whole situation for me is that about 30% of businesses in the United States are owned by women, and only 2% of those businesses actually scale past $1 million in revenue. But what's so ironic and amazing at the same time about aesthetics is that those numbers are essentially flipped upside down. Meaning in general, right, in the general world, very few women, female entrepreneurs are actually scaling past $1 million. But in aesthetics, the majority are. And the majority of businesses are female owned. What is that specific number? Well, let me tell you, I don't have that number because women in our industry, while we are driving the growth in aesthetics, we are still under-researched, we are still underfunded, and we are still under-resourced. And that is a problem for me. And that is essentially why, as our team has built up our curriculum and we've learned more and more and more, we know intimately what it takes to help female entrepreneurs thrive. There isn't a lot of access to information. And I don't mean information. Like I heard someone say something about like Boss Babe era or whatever the other day. What's funny about that is that, yeah, there's a lot of access to low barrier to entry in terms of like, say you're out looking for a business coach, right? Like hashtag business coach, you will never, like you'll be there all day looking. What's so interesting though, is that all this data, all this information, all this teaching around business building, the stuff I learned in business school, right? Very readily accessible to the majority of the population, the 98%, the opposite of the 2%, the 98% of people who are building businesses, and God bless, like that's amazing too, but like building your basic small business. But there isn't information for women, and particularly in our space, who are scaling past multi-million dollars. Where do you have access to that kind of curriculum, that kind of support, that kind of strategy? Right here. And so that is what our programming is all about. Of course, we're happy to help. We have the Fierce Factor podcast. We have a really incredible Facebook group that's free. I have YouTube videos for days. There's tons of information to help your businesses that are just starting out, the first 1 to 3 years, trying to really like grind it out and get to where you want to go. Tons of stuff available for you out there. But what this is designed for, this program, and particularly our Confidence to Scale and then leading into our Leadership Academy, is for women who get to that point where they're like, okay, I'm kind of done with like that basic stuff. Like I get it. I know how to get patients in the door. I know how to get busy. I know what I'm doing. What I need is not necessarily more knowledge. I need some support around actually scaling my business. And so the first couple of years, we're building this new business, like grinding it out, hustle, right? We're like, it's all about efficiency, EBITDA, and my profit margins, and we're hiring, and it's like all the things. And then I start getting calls from women that are like, okay, wait, but what actually I need help with is how do I scale up my business, but scale myself back? Because growth isn't always what we really want. Everyone talks about growth. And sometimes we get to that point where we're like, actually, I don't want to grow. I'm scared to grow, right? Like I'm worried that I just don't even have the capacity for growth anymore. And I'm nervous that if I continue to grow, not only am I going to grow, my revenues, right? That's easy. Push some levers and we can dial that in. That is no problem. But with growth comes other things, right? With growth comes maybe more revenue, hopefully, right? But also more expenses, the cost to get that growth, right? What are you spending to make money? More team members, most likely. So more people to manage. Probably need to have more patients, probably a bigger schedule. So what you're doing is you're essentially growing your business, but you're growing everything else, including the time it takes to invest into resourcing that business, the money it takes to resource that business, and your headaches, your sanity, right? You're growing everything. It's like, it's just this one big pile of all the things. So how do you essentially grow in a way when you get to that point where you're like, I know how to do this. I get the basic business stuff down, but I just don't have the time anymore. Like I can't possibly give more of myself. That's when it becomes about the strategy. And it's less about the stuff you're going to read online or the stuff you're going to get on YouTube or even from your basic consultant. It's stuff that you have to really consider about who you want to become to lead that business. It becomes less about the tactics. You're smart. You can do that stuff. It becomes all about who do I need to become to manage, to have the grit really and the tools to manage the stresses and the reality of what running a successful business is. And it takes a different kind of leader to grow a multi-million-dollar business and than it does when you're a solopreneur and you're starting out and you get to have all the ideas and you get to have all the autonomy. You get to do whatever you want to do, right? But what happens is that you get to this point where that when you've started your business, that autonomy and suit that you tried to get, right? Like the reason you even started that business is the very thing that's holding you back from finding that joy and happiness and love in your business. And so when we're getting calls, it's not from women who are like, Kaylee, how do I make another $1 million, right? I know how to do that. I'm asking, how can I build a team that is engaged and passionate about our vision and about my mission? How do I convince my patients now to start seeing other providers when they came to me for me? How do I show up as a thought leader in our space? Or how do I vocalize or verbalize this unique idea that I have to the world? What if I invest in employees and they leave me? These are the questions that we're really asking, but we don't know how to really work through and kind of navigate that stuff, or like, how do I ask for help with that? It's not like you can like push the button, like, let's go to YouTube. What if I invest in an employee and they leave me? Like, who's got that answer? Well, we kind of do, but you know what I mean? Like, that's all on us as a leader, as a business owner. Like, that is real SHIT we have to work through, right? That is like dealing with the absolute like mirror of the challenges that you look at and you face every single day and the fears that become those limiting barriers that hold you back from getting to the next level in your business. And so questions come up about, how do I know when I'm looking at getting some support with this, like scaling my business and getting my business to the next level? How do I know what program is right for me? Like, okay, Kaylee, I get it. I'm on board with you. That's me. Like, I need help. How do I know? It's very simple for us. Everything that we have built in this company has been in thought partnership, in tandem, hand in hand with our clients. And it is all stems from, first of all, building and developing the leader of the vision, the leader of the business. And when we talk about leadership, a lot of times we just think about leading people. Like, oh, I just need to learn how to be a better leader. But what we neglect is the leadership it takes for ourselves. It's when we're the boss, we don't have anybody to report to. I'm the friggin' CEO. Like, nobody's telling me what to do, right? And that can be great in some ways, but it cannot be so great in other ways, because guess who we're having conversation with? Either we're coming home and burying our partner with all of our stuff from the day, or we're sitting with these thoughts in our head like a psychopath, talking to ourselves, right? Like staying up at night. Oh my gosh, right? And so we don't have that like resource to go to, that somebody to like have those conversations with. Our clients will joke like, I just need therapy. Like sometimes we feel like we just need therapy. That's actually what it is. Like it is us giving ourselves space to hear ourselves out, to like talk through and think through those things that are like just jumbled up in our head. So our programs are built to essentially help you develop the skills to work through that, to become a leader of your own self, right? Leading those thoughts, those actions, those emotions that we have, understanding how to work through those, and then showing up, not like a frazzled hot mess. We act like people don't know when we like come flying into our business, or we're, like we've had like all kinds of stuff like happening at home. And then we show up like, oh, look at, and we think our team or like the people around us don't know that we're exhausted and we're emotionally over it. And like, we're kind of like in our head. They do. And so the difference is actually having a clear plan and showing up as a calm, well-rested, well-directioned leader for ourselves. And then we feel empowered to help give our team direction and focus around the vision of where we're headed. They see a leader that is clear. They see somebody that knows where they're going and they want to follow, right? Versus, oh, let me just hire somebody and let them figure it out for me. And that's a lot of times a strategy we have when we buried ourselves in delivering service in our business and being the main talent in our business. We don't have time to think, to build out the strategy for the people, then to run the business for us. So when we go back to, the idea of growth versus scale, that's essentially what our programming is doing, is it's helping you find a way, develop the strategy to build assets within your organization that are going to be the revenue generation for you. That's going to help you take your business to the next level. That doesn't require more of your time. So you're essentially looking how to pull yourself out of that trap of service delivery, of being the provider, of being the micromanager of all of the things, and becoming the visionary leader of the business. And so when you're on our website and you're looking at the different programming we have, and you're like, I don't know what's right for me, we make it really simple for you. Our Pop Leadership Academy is a 1-year-long business incubator that our goal is essentially for us to teach you how to build a business that your grandma could come in and run. So by the end of the year, it's systematized. You have a people plan in place. You have a growth strategy in place. You know what your 5-year and potentially 10-year vision is. You know how to continue refining and architecting and building and pivoting and polishing that every single year. You've got tools for managing through overwhelm, through managing through all of that busyness and the to-do list in your head. You understand where your top priorities are. You're clear of where you fit into the marketplace, what your brand position is. You're clear about how you're going to market. You have a unique voice and something that is disruptive to bring to the marketplace so that people will come to you and pay top dollar for your business, right? Your proprietary aesthetic methodology. And so this is essentially the idea behind what we do. Now, a lot of you guys are here to learn tonight more about confidence to scale. So what is that? So it's really simple for us. Our academy is by referral only. It is by application, by referral, or you will have had to go through confidence to scale. That is how you work with us in our academy. Why do we do it like that? Our goal is not to become a huge company and have 500 employees and build this crazy organization. We have a very sweet spot. We know what it is, and we work with select clients who we know we are going to help bring tremendous success to, and we go deep with them. It's high touch. It's a boutique, very high touch business. And so we have to really pick and choose who we work with. That's essentially the reason why. That's how that works. Prior to kind of building that, right, that 1-year program and where we're really in there building grandma's business is work that most of us overlook. And I will tell you, you're not going to go to any other consulting company, coaching company, anywhere and get this kind of work. That is around essentially getting clarity about what you're building. It is about taking a look in the mirror and really exposing yourself to some of those things that are holding you back from accessing your next level. And it's about creating new habits for yourself. So one of the objections or like the concerns or questions, right, that you guys get is, what if I don't have the time? I just don't have the time. I talk a lot about this because we tend to think that we'll have time down the road. right? Like, oh, next week, or when I just hire that employee, or after this happens, or after I do that, or when I hit that next level, then I'll have that. Does that really ever work? I know it hasn't for me. I've told myself that many times, but it doesn't really work. What we're essentially doing is we're delaying investing in the thing that it's going to take to get us the time that we need. And that is creating a new habit around focus and prioritization. And so essentially what this 6-week program does is it helps you build out and architect the blueprint for growth for you. Like building a home, right? You have to have a plan first. Imagine if you just like brought all the material in and the team and you were like, okay, let's build the house. It would be chaos. You would probably not have the right foundation you needed. I'd be out like looking for chandeliers, like buying all the decor first, and I could care less because no one wants to deal with drywall and dirt and things like that, right? And so you're not focused. You're just doing the things that are right in front of you. But when you have a plan, when you bring an architect and they put a blueprint together, you know exactly what you're building. And so there isn't just this random, like, okay, let's go with the hammers and nails. I have taken the time to really get clear about where I'm headed. It's funny because we'll have business owners that are like been in business for 10 years and like never really done this work, or even 5 years or 2 years. And it's like, we change so much. Look at a human being from 1 year to 5 years. Crazy change, crazy growth. Same for our little baby business. It changes into an entirely different type of entity, of like experience of a thing in 5 years. And so we have to reassess and reevaluate. A, I'm here. Is this where I want to be? Number one. And B, how am I willing to show up differently, to become different, to create this new future version, to create 2.0, or to get to that next level? And what we do so many times is we go back to the easy stuff where we're like, I know how to work hard. I know how to look at my profit margins and my most profitable procedures. And I know how to like cost per patient and per hour and how much turnover in my room and blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, we're focusing on all these numbers and yet we don't trust people and we can't keep people around, or we're scared to hire someone and then they're going to leave us, or we're not sure where we want to go, or we're working 5 days a week. And then we take 1 day to work on our business and we have no free time for ourselves and no life and we're exhausted. It's sort of backwards, don't you think? Don't you think it's backwards? I know I do, because I think that if you build the plan around who you want to be, how you want to live, what kind of schedule you want, who you want to be around every single day, who you want on your team, who you want in your life, then you get to build the business for that. Instead, we're so busy jumping in to like just grow because the only thing we know how to measure is the number. And so we're just focused on the measurement of how did we do this year versus last year. And we forget that it takes sometimes taking a pause or a season of building infrastructure, putting systems in place. And this is the whole idea, is that what kind of assets are you going to put into play so that your business can self-generate? So it's not requiring you. You are not the business. I don't want to be my business. I want my business to fuel me. I want my business to pull me, not me drag my business behind and feel like I have to carry all the load and I have to bring all the people. No, I want it the other way around. But I can't just jump in and build that. I have to take the time to really think about what I want, setting boundaries around that, getting focused on the top priorities that I know are going to generate actual results for my company. That is how we then go and build a business that we enjoy showing up to every single day. What we do is the opposite. And so many of you are here because you're like, I'm there. Sign me up for this idea that I can have a balance, like work life. I can have like a business that I show up to and I feel joyous about, or I can have a business where so many of us are like, gosh, I really dream of like this training academy I want to build, or I want to spend more time doing this. This really fuels me, but I make more money doing this. Well, guess what? There's other ways to be creative to build assets that can generate income for you. And when you start to really think about what that is and what you want and where you could go, then this year with us is easy because then we know what the heck we're building, right? And so essentially what the 6 weeks is, it's just preparing this beautiful idea and this commitment to yourself around what you deserve already. Like, stop waiting to get there. Stop telling yourself like you have to earn that or you have to like wait to get there, right? You're there. So I'm going to answer some other questions. If you guys have any in the meantime, I know I can go on a rant, but I want to make sure your questions get answered around the specifics of this program. So what is the cost of the certification? Well, that's the first question. It's funny though, because I think it's obviously a reasonable question, but I remember being to a point when I first invested in coaching. And I was like, I know I need something. I don't know what it is, but I just had this feeling like I need like a push to the next level. Like I'm going to explode. Like I need somebody to like help me see what that is and where to go. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to sign up for Tony Robbins' Business Mastery Program. And it was $10,000 for 5 days. And in my mind, I'm like, this is crazy, but it's Tony Robbins. So like, what the heck? So I remember sitting down, I like prepped myself and I walked into my husband and then I was like, I'm going to go to Tony Robbins and it's $10,000. And he just looked at me like, are you cuckoo? What are you smoking? And anyway, I did. I went and it was fine. It was good. Like it was great. But the biggest takeaway from that was I invested in myself. I finally said, I'm worth it. And I believe in myself that I'm going to make an investment into me and I'm going to make it worth it. That act of believing enough to invest in yourself and put the work in, that's game changing. And so that was invaluable. By the way, it's a little weird because he has you massage your neighbors. It's very strange, but otherwise it was a really great program. I've since spent up in the probably now hundreds of thousands of dollars on coaching, life coaching, business coaching, consulting, all of these things. And it's been invaluable for me. But anyway, that's my fun story. The cost of the certification is $25.97 for the full 6 weeks. That includes 5 group coaching calls, a proprietary method tool builder. We're going to walk you through how to build your proprietary aesthetic method, one-on-one coaching call, access to all of our insider resources. You get a workbook, a whole welcome kit sent to you, all your guideposts, all of the educational components with it, and then your certification. So it's just a one-time payment of $25.97. I will just sort of extrapolate on how it works. It is a combined small group coaching and one-on-one. The curriculum is delivered via a private podcast. So you can listen to it. You'll basically get access once you register to the podcast. You can listen to it on your own time. And then we come together as a group to discuss all the things. How much should I plan to commit per week to maximize my impact in the program? So again, this is one of the big challenges, right? Like I'm so busy already. And that's sort of the point, is that what we're going to do is teach you how to make time for yourself. You're not going to make time for yourself by spending time working. I can tell you that right now. You can't work your way into more time. You have to actually make a plan and a strategy to build out this asset development, essentially. When you come through this program, again, the podcast itself, you can listen to on your own time. But most of our students block out about 2 to 4 hours per week. So you'll have the 1 hour of going through the curriculum and then an hour with the group. And then if you're smart, you're going back to your practice, you're talking with your team, implementing, we're taking you step by step by step so you can go back and actually put the work into the business and then come back and kind of talk about it with the group. The group piece is just really, really powerful because you're in a room of other women, other like-minded women who are in a similar stage of business and the same industry. You're not going to get that anywhere else. What if I don't have the time to show up? So these are scheduled Tuesday evening. Our first live will be a week from Tuesday, our first group class together for this spring session. And if you cannot, I recommend coming and finding a way, because if you're committed to developing these new habits to get yourself to the next level, you're going to have to find a way. If you can't, they're all recorded, so you'll have access to them in the future. Whatever the next day or that evening, we'll post it right away. So you'll have access to those recordings. Again, it's private just for the cohort of students that we have going through that program at that time. Okay, so what if I already have a team? Does the program still make sense for me? Absolutely, and especially. So we talk about scaling up, essentially hiring your mini me. Some people like that. Some people don't like saying that. Of course, there'll never be a mini you, essentially. But what that means is that you're finding somebody that you'll be able to effectively delegate those leadership tasks to, and or your actual treatment. Maybe you're hiring another provider, you're hiring a practice manager, you're scaling up your team. So we're talking about handling toxic people in your life, setting boundaries, just really optimizing your impact as an owner. So I've been asked, well, what if I don't want to scale to multiple locations? Can I still take this program? And the answer is absolutely, because essentially what we're talking about with scale is generating more income without more of your time. So it's this putting less input in and getting more output. That's what we're teaching with scale. How can I make 100% sure that this program is a match? So once you head to klcconsultants.com/scale, you'll submit an application, and then our team will, on the back end, do some research around the things that you're going to answer in your brief application to make sure that you're the right sort of fit and place in your business. And then we'll send you the link to check in. So you'll know that we have vetted. Again, the reason why we do this, we're not just out to take people's money. We want to make sure that it's a right fit for everybody as you go through this program, that your business is already set up to have an ultimate transformation through the 6 weeks. Can you give examples of how to sell the experience rather than the service? Okay, so this is not specific to CTS, I think, but instead of saying Botox on sale, $9 a unit this month, what would we say or post? Essentially, why would someone get Botox, right? Like, nobody wants to go get Botox. They want something from it. So I want a smoother forehead. I want to look and feel better. So we're asking questions about what is the actual pain point that you're having. Ideally, like, you would understand your patient's goals, like something personally about them, like the fact that they would have, maybe they're at a place where they look in the mirror and they don't feel as good as they used to. They don't look as good as they feel, or they feel younger inside, and they're starting to notice, and it's affecting them and impacting the way they feel about themselves. And so we're marketing to the pain point versus the actual thing. And so we teach this in our academy in a lot of detail, and we have some podcasts around this too. But basically, when we market to anything, right? Anybody who buys anything is going to buy, it's an exchange of trust. It's an exchange of, I have a problem and I'm looking for a solution, and I'm going to go to somebody that I trust can solve that problem for me. So the better job you can do speaking and communicating to the language of your most valuable buyers, the more likely they are to be able to trust you and to identify and realize that you're speaking to them and feel like you have a specific solution to their needs. Again, like advertising Botox on sale, we can get Botox on sale anywhere. That doesn't really say anything about differentiating the business. Hopefully that helps. What can I expect to get out of CTS? That's a really great question. I have this sort of story. The first time I went to New York, I didn't know what New York was all about. I was there for training. I worked for Bayer Healthcare, and they had like a 3-week training program based out of Tarrytown. And then on the weekends, I would go into Manhattan. And I remember I was not enamored by New York at all. Like, busy streets, hotel room was like a box, trash everywhere. Like, the trash is lined on the streets. It's loud. I can't navigate around. Takes forever to get places. And I'm like, I don't know what is up with people think about New York. I had a friend later that is from New York, and she's like, next time you come up, I'm going to take you around. So she took me up to this like high penthouse, like high floor. And it was mind blowing. These breathtaking views of the city and the parks and like the monuments, the bridges. It was just absolutely stunning. And I was like, this is crazy. I had a totally different perspective, a whole totally different view of New York. But now that I'm up here, I see things totally differently, and I see much more potential, and I see how expansive it is and what possibilities are available for me. So this is the idea for me. When I built Confidence to Scale, was how do I create a program where women who are in, I hate to use the term in the weeds, but essentially I'm in my business every single day. How do I bring them through this experience where they can really elevate to this penthouse level and see what's possible for them, see the vision of what their life could become, where they can go, like what this could actually be. One of our clients was like, you're going to think I'm crazy, but like, I really want a private jet. And I'm like, that isn't crazy at all. And we can absolutely help you get there. I am all about that. Sometimes you need somebody that can remind you that it's possible for you, whatever you want. Not everybody wants a private jet, but maybe you're like, I kind of want to show up like one day a week, or I want to be a KOL and speaking on stages everywhere. Your dream is a reality. But we don't sometimes give ourselves even that space and surround ourselves with people that allow us to even go there and that can say, put the how aside for a minute. Let's just put the vision in place and then we'll help you figure out the how. And that's the beauty of this program. So what you're going to get out of this is this elevated experience to the penthouse and the ability to then see your business and life from a whole different perspective. And the sessions and what we teach in there is specifically very meticulously designed to take you through that process. The other piece of it is what I mentioned about the Tony Robbins program, which was just kicking off the ability to I'm now investing in myself. And I would say for many of you, many of our clients who've gone through this program, I now have to make a habit of showing up. I get to make the habit of showing up and investing in myself and gifting myself the time to work on my business and to work on me. So eventually those are going to become different things. Right now, you're work on the business. But what if you invested in work on yourself? Last year, I invested in working with a speaking coach. I've spent 7 years working on my business and it's time to work more on me. I have a lot of coaches, so that's one example. So essentially, we're teaching you how to give your business its own soul, build the business, but then build yourself as the leader of the business. So I think just being able to develop the habit of taking time to work on it, it's such a gift. And I haven't spoken to one graduate in our program who was I'm not thankful for the time I invested in myself. Never been said. Speaking of, if you go to the klcconsultants.com/scale page, there's several video testimonials from clients who have been through our programming. You can hear about their experiences, starting from this place of, I'm drinking from a fire hose right now. I have no time. I feel overwhelmed. I'm not sure where to go, what to work on next in my business. I'm not sure where to find the great people. I'm not sure how to get everybody dialed into this business, and have gone through this program and experienced such transformative changes and growth for themselves in the direction that they want to go. Who is a good fit for the program? So I will say the program is best for somebody who already has an established business, 1 to 3 years in business, already knows how to get clients in the door, probably already has a fully booked schedule and is looking for the next step, where to take their business now. And so I would definitely say if you are just starting out, if you're brand new, let's talk about something else for you. This is really about scaling your business to its next level. Somebody that is ready, willing, and able. So I'm ready, where I was, I use that example of Tony Robbins. I need something and I'm ready to make that investment in myself and put the time in. Again, it's a couple hours a week. So if you don't have that, it's a good reason to go find that, to get that, to gift yourself that. If the investment is a lot of money for you, or you're telling yourself that, again, another reason you probably need to get some support so that that's a palatable investment for you and ongoing, right? To have some support to help you get the guidance and the direction and the accountability to take your business to its next level. So as we wrap up, I would highly encourage you to apply today. We only have a few spots left. A question did come in. If I've been through the program, can I repeat it? Yes, we have actually had clients go through the program more than once. So we'll talk to you about that. And can you schedule a one-on-one call with me? This program comes with a one-on-one call. I don't do any one-on-one consulting or coaching. You have to go through our programming. So if you wanted to have a call with me, a coaching call, this is the way to do that. So head over to klcconsultants.com/scale, get yourself signed up. I hope to see you all there, and I'm really excited to partner with you to help you take your business to the next level. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see everybody soon. Bye.
Wait, before you go, if you're vibing with this conversation and want to join me on my mission to help 1,000 inspiring and intentional women cross the next $1 million milestone in their business this year, or maybe you want to become one of them, head over to Facebook and join our free community, the Fierce Factor Society. Over there, we are taking this conversation to an elevated level. Get access to resource guides, podcast supplements, and guideposts, direct communication with me and my expert team, and of course, a society of fierce women making big moves and disrupting the status quo in aesthetics and wellness. You can link directly through the show notes or head to Facebook and search up the Fierce Factor Society. See you there, goddess.